What happened to Metropolis can never be allowed to occur again.
You'll throw away everything the Justice League stands for. Times change. It's hard to believe the man who stood on this roof and made that promise would cross the line.
In the year 2021, there have been technically 5 DC animated films, but I'm going to count it as 4 because I'm counting The Long Halloweens Part 1 and 2 as one film. There's 4 that I'm aware of at least. Who knows if there's been more. I have not been keeping extremely up to date with that. I don't know what's going on with Teen Titans Go. They're about to have a movie next year. They announced that at DC Fandom, so I don't think they had a movie this year or anything. I don't watch that show or anything anyway, so I usually don't include it on the list. But I am planning on watching those Teen Titans Go movies and updating my all animated DC movies rank stuff. I might even watch Batman Unlimited if you guys want me to. I'll rank all of them. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into this list for 2021. Coming in last place at number 4 is actually the only one I didn't review on the channel. Just this year's been extremely busy, so to even throw together the reviews that I did, it was hard to find time. So yeah, sorry for the lack of content on the channel this year. Hopefully that picks back up next year, but who knows, life's still busy right now, and there's no signs of it stopping. But anyway, Batman Soul of the Dragon. This movie is so freaking weird, and it does not feel like Batman's the main character at all, which is probably a positive for some people, but me, Batman's my favorite superhero, Batman's in the title, it's a Batman movie, I wanted more Batman. And I didn't expect to love this movie just from the trailers or anything and the designs, just because, I don't know, cult stuff just never really works with me. I don't care if Batman's in it, if Batman's not in it, just cult stuff in general isn't really my forte. So I've never been a fan of Cobra. They were like the worst part of Batman Beyond in my opinion. They were the weakest part of this film. I really like some of the characters. I like Batman, I like Shiva, and I like Dragon. I really enjoyed Bronze Tiger as well. Michael Jai White reprising his role as that character. That was a breath of fresh air. It was nice to see. For anyone that saw the Arrowverse, I'm sure you loved hearing his voice as that character again. Also, he's in the best DC movie ever, The Dark Knight, so, you know, how can you not love the guy? But yeah, this was a movie going in, I pretty much knew I wasn't going to enjoy because it just seemed too weird for me, and those thoughts I had came to fruition when I finally watched the movie, which is it's another reason I didn't do a review on the movie, is because I wouldn't really have anything positive to say other than performance-wise, and the animation also is solid. The animation is good. But the concept, the plot, everything else that happens, just entirely too weird with the whole Snake God and the Cobra cult. Anyway, moving on to number 3. So I'm not really going to spend as long as I talked about the last movie on these next 3, because I do have reviews up on the channel. So if you want to hear more of my thoughts in detail on the upcoming picks, you can check those reviews out. Shameless plug, top right corner. So number 3 is Justice Society World War II. This movie is it's fairly mediocre to me. It's not terrible. It's not great. I really wish Flash is the main character of this movie, but I really just wish it was a Flash movie instead of doing Justice Society with it, because Flash never gets his own movie, man. I just want him to get his own animated film for one. And that is a hang-up I have with this movie. I will admit, it's probably better than the grade I gave it, but it just irritates me that they never just do a Flash story, because Flashpoint's the closest thing we have other than the show so far, right? Even the live action movie, it looks like that's basically Flashpoint. It is their Flashpoint. Really, my main problem with this movie is, firstly, comic readers may understand this, but it's never really explained in the movie how Flash ended up in a parallel universe instead of the past, like we all assumed it was until it was revealed, no, this is an alternate timeline. But anyway, my main complaint with this movie is really just how characters are handled. I think both the Flashes, Barry and Jay, are handled well. Wonder Woman's fine. A lot of the characters are fine, but really when it comes to the third act, I think character deaths are handled very poorly, either because that character was not set up enough, we did not have enough connection to them, it was too obvious that it was gonna happen. I don't know, something along those lines. None of the deaths in this movie impacted me in any way. Also, the main villain sucks. I don't even remember who the main villain of this movie is. Does that matter? Not really. Aquaman's brainwashed, blah blah blah. There's not really a villain of the movie. Barry just fucks up the timeline. It's World War II. The Nazis are the villain. It's still a watchable film. It's perfectly fine. Just a lot of choices that personally did not appeal to my taste. So, runner up on the list, this could be controversial, Injustice. I reviewed this one very recently. I'm not even sure if it's out on disc yet, and maybe. I think it may have came out this week, I'm not 100% sure, so no spoilers for Injustice, but I thought the character work was fine. The stuff they incorporated from the video game was good. I wish they had incorporated more. There's a lot of characters missing, a lot of characters that seemed very important, like Lex Luthor or Shazam. Rather, they're important to the plot or morally. They impact the story in some way. They impact the characters around them, especially Superman. So it was odd not seeing those characters. Some characters were utilized very, very poorly. Some really dumb decisions were made, in my opinion, and I know a lot of people agree with that. Some people that love this movie may be upset that that's what throws us off when it comes to this movie. But characters like, I'm sure everyone already knows this, if you don't, just skip to the number one pick. Killing the Flash. The Flash is such a massive part. I haven't read the comics, but he's such a massive part of both the games. And from comments I've seen and from what I've seen on social media, etc., everyone says he's a massive part of the story. So why would they kill him in the first 30 seconds he's on screen? I don't freaking know. I wish I had the answers. Otherwise, I still think this is a good movie. Those decisions throw me off with it. I think it's not a good adaptation, but it is a good movie. And number one, the two-parter, Batman: The Long Halloween. I don't think this is the best Batman movie ever or anything, but I do think it's a good adaptation. I know it made some changes from the comic, but from what I know, none of the changes were that drastic. It stayed pretty loyal to the story, made small changes to make the movie different, which is really what an adaptation should do in my opinion. Batman: The Killing Joke, Injustice, Batman Hush. But The Long Halloween, on all accounts, is a good film. I think the first part is quite a bit stronger than part two, honestly. Part one is really all about introducing the story and setting up part two, which it does very, very well, pretty brilliantly. Part 2 is the conclusion, but part 2 just is a lot. I almost feel like this should be a 3-part movie because, first of all, they skipped like 3 holidays at the very beginning, so there's just almost a second movie right there waiting for you. I have no idea how important the holidays they skipped actually are, but even then you could have went into more detail with the Poison Ivy stuff or anything else. Part 2 just feels busier than Part 1 was, not paced as well, and I think it would have benefited from a longer runtime. I know 3-part movies is not DC's thing, and I don't even know if they needed a third movie. Maybe just make Part 2 a little longer if you could. But Part 2 is still good. I enjoy both parts, but Part 1 is just definitely better in my opinion. I really like that the Two-Face persona was inside of Harvey before he actually got the acid to the face, which is similar to what Batman the Animated Series did. I love the Joker in Part 1. I love that he's just going to gas all of Gotham at this parade, the New Year's parade, whatever is happening at the end of Part 1 on New Year's. He's just going to gas everyone because he's like, so much of the city's going to be here, there's a good chance one of them's holiday. There can only be one psychotic murderer in Gotham, and it's the Joker. I liked how much Scarecrow had to do in Part 2. I wish we got more of his character instead of him just injecting people with fear toxin and like robbing a bank and just riding around with the Mad Hatter. But still, it's fun seeing Scarecrow as much as we did. So yeah, I really enjoy The Long Halloween. It's a very good movie. Honestly, the past few years, DC animation has felt kind of weak. But I think Long Halloween is one of the strongest ones we've had since, really, Flashpoint. I kind of think after Flashpoint, when they started doing the New 52 stuff, I'm still a fan of some of the New 52 stuff, but I definitely think the storytelling fell off a little bit in these movies for the most part. You still have your gems like this, The Long Halloween, Death of Superman, and Gotham by Gaslight. Now, some people may disagree with me on that, But really, that's the beautiful thing about movies. We can all have a different opinion. It's fine. That's the point. If we all saw it the same way, what would be the fun in this? With all that being said, that was my ranking. Let me know yours down in the comments below. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.
The city has fallen, Alfred.
Then we must endeavor to lift it up again.